things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing. Did you think you could keep us out? Shut the gates, forget us now. Tides are changing. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Once you shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? Ground beneath your feet, with a whisper in the trees. Do you feel us watching? Hunger in our eyes, victories on our minds. It's our time to rise. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Once you shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution.
aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. All in when I show up, whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. Watch me elevate. I was born and when I watch me elevate. I was born and when I watch me elevate.
I can show you what love's supposed to feel like. I can show you what love's supposed to be. I can show you what love's supposed to feel like. I can show you, yeah, I can show you, yeah. Yeah. There's only pain, it's all about. Why does it feel like I'm dreaming? Why can't I recover? I can't breathe, I can't see. You cut me open and out. You like me, broken but half alive. Freedom, I never had the chance to run. Leave behind the said and done. Figure out what's to come. Reasons, all the bigger things I can't ignore. I'm not getting what I came here for. Gotta get ahead of something more. So I think I found a new way out, way beyond the shadow of doubt. 'Cause I can't breathe. And I guess I could be stronger now and leave it up to fate somehow. But I'm doing this for me. Give it up, baby, I'm not fooling anyone. Always going on and on. Can't you keep it to yourself for once? Oh, I think I found a new way out, way beyond your shadow of doubt. And I can't breathe. Oh, I hope you're keeping count of all the times you let me down, and all the things you said out loud, the bullshit I could cry about. And I know we could be stronger now and leave it up to fate somehow. But everything I do for me. Feelings. It's like I can't walk on
Infallible. They were just so clean, and they didn't need to over-aggress. It looked dominating from start to finish, and honestly, I think that another performance like that is going to be needed if they want to try and continue that momentum.
And on the flip side for PSG Talon, they really struggled against Red and these early rotations that we saw with Cheaton moving up towards mid to work with Grevtar, getting picks onto the bay. It felt like Juhan couldn't really get that early control that he needed and get the ball rolling. And unfortunately, this has kind of been something that we've seen a little bit from PSG Talent back home, is kind of the communication between the Koreans hasn't been the best with the rest of the team. They've even talked about in interviews, and now you're going to add in Asi to that as well. Like, this is actually going to be a bit tough for PSG Talent, especially when you look at the tenure that Hanabi has had. Like, one of the best, if not the best top laner in the PCS, now removed from the squad as well.
I can tell you now, PSG's pot lane's been removed from this lane. They are not allowed to go in. That was just heat-seeking Mystic shots coming out from Gala. We saw this in Game 1 as well in their MSI 2022 campaign. This was just so much damage coming out so quickly, and even then so early as well. We don't generally see that kind of, power coming from an Ezreal, especially not pre-10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just remembering the old, Lucian Braum, level 2 power spike. But, I mean, realistically, Ezra can kind of do a similar thing, right? The Mystic shots and those auto attacks work pretty well at getting these very quick concussive blows off. And now we're going to see if Ming can kind of find a little bit more of a blow on towards Juhan.
I mean, you got the early priority in mid, you've got a priority in bot. Gotta be careful, though. Blue will go over, Wade's going to be flashed on, knocked up, double stunned. We're going to see now Ming going to stand behind me as he tries to jump over the wall, and that's going to be the Vex taken out. Xiaohu was in tow, and he knew exactly where he needed to be. Now Juhan, he's trying to see if he can get away from this, but the concussive blows make that very, very difficult. You gotta go to a doctor, my son, because your head's been cracked open.
And the Triumph comes in for Wei, so he stays up, and now PSG already 2 kills down. A 1,500 gold lead. We're not even 4 minutes into the game.
Do you remember the T1 A's one we had earlier?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that, but with RNG this time.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah.
So just to get our expectations set, we got our cool TCL versus CB LOL. Sadly, this is just RNG. They are not playing. They are here for business.
And it is kind of interesting to see how much respect RNG have coming into this, right? Like banning away the Vladimir in the get-go, making sure that you're not getting comfort picks for PSG. And here, I gotta say, I got a little bit nervous for Wei. I was about to go, remember when I said he overextends that little bit? Well, things happen. But honestly, having the support here for Xiaohu to come across, you got Galu comes in as well just in time to make sure he can follow up on the play here as well. Ming just about getting out. You don't even have to burn the heal on Gala, just respecting that play the whole time.
Yeah, that's a tough one to kind of swallow right there, because it just comes from very basic lane priorities. You had the push in mid, you had the push bot. You could see in that replay in the minimap, like, Unified couldn't join because how is he going to lose so much? And there's no vision here now as they try to maybe jump on the Xiaohu. Xiaohu does have his flash. You're a level 2 Kai Wing right now. This Rakan doesn't even have his full kit yet.
Yeah, and they just back it off. But as you say, you're looking at Gal and Ming already having the control over bot side. Wei doing really well here. Xiaohu having 2 kills as well means he's got that early Ionian Boots of Lucidity in the Dark Seal. Like, Bei is going to struggle in this lane now, and when mid is under this much control, one of the big things we talk about with Xiaohu is actually something we talked about earlier on with Faker, where you look at how Xiaohu and Ox pointed down the desk starts to move around the map, keeping RNG in check, finding these plays to set up as the mastermind for RNG. It becomes so much easier with this lead.
Yeah, with this lead and with these double buffs, he will eventually lose them, but the harassment is there. And you think of RNG, a lot of people tend to think towards Uzi. Cannot blame the man as a god amongst AD carries. However, RNG have 5 titles. Xiaohu has 5 titles. This man has been there. He's the glue. He's the whole reason that no matter who they bring in, it seems to just work. He runs around the map, works around the map so damn well with his team. It just feels like he's just the puppet master.
And I mean, it's the reason why they were so successful in MSI 2021, right? Like him playing top side, playing off things like the Lucian. It was his understanding of how to play side lanes that made RNG the threat that they are. And now that we're seeing a very different style of RNG with Xiaohu moving back to the mid lane again, he's still the one that controls the early game. Make sure that RNG are able to get to the mid game, because RNG, when they hit that point, that's when they're super strong. That's where they're able to play towards neutrals. But that's also where PSG are at their biggest strength. Because when you look at like the way that they actually played back home in the PCS, it was all about not really getting off the ground very, very quickly, but certainly like looking towards these neutral objectives, for trying to find these moments where you can just win out hard at these team fights.
Absolutely, and for PSG, Talon as an organization, it was not, I stop myself as a Gala goes a little bit aggressive as Arcane Shift, has to burn his own flash. It's a little bit of a mistake there on the bot side. But yes, for PSG Talent, they had to go through the losers bracket. They were actually knocked out of the top side of it and had to earn themselves back into it. So, and then we think about, obviously, from last year, they had a very, very different roster compared to what it is now, despite there being still a couple of names we recognize.
And one of the big reasons people were talking about that for PSG Talent was, oh, hang on.
Oh my lord, that's a lot of damage. And Ming is feeling himself right now. Pushes forward. The Ignite was ticking. You've got Kuhan coming down here. We are going to see Bin now getting jumped on. The needle work doing work. He's not quite got his mega just yet. He's going to try and go down. Flash. And Ox can keep his fist down.
I already know Ox is giving just the biggest grin to Quick Shot in the back room. I have worked with this man long enough to know exactly how his
I can almost hear his voice now saying, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. The giggle.
With a big giggle coming out. But he doesn't quite die. But again, this is the kind of reason why we have a lot of question marks over Bin sometimes. He just doesn't really respect his 1v1 at the best
And
of
it
times.
feels like, honestly, if you're kind of looking at someone that can also be a big carry alongside Unified in these fights, it is going to be this Gwen. Oh, actually Unified.
No flash on Gala.
Oh,
okay. Maybe doesn't need flash.
yeah, I was kind of like, oh boy. But I'm going to come back to this point, because if this Gwen could kind of get up and rolling, you are in a position where, because you've got that immunity with the W, like Xiao, who can't really deal damage to you, Gala, who wants to play at range, can't really do very much. So you can have the opportunity to kill the front line of RNG very quickly and take over. Problem though is that 23 CS leading the top side, Bin having full push, a plate to himself as well, and Rift Herald.
Oh, they're going straight down to Xiao, who's going to have the Spirit Rush to get himself out. Has to use the flash as well. The Rift Herald was taken by Wei, and now Juhan's in a little bit of a bad situation. He needs to flash away, but he's been met and equaled by the side of RNG's Wei, and that's going to be Ming picking up a kill. Now they can flash in. They're going to try and get Bin up to his Mega Nard. They try and take down Xiao, who finally he falls. The ultimate from Unified alongside the heal is Ming now in a little bit of trouble. He's going to try and get the concussive blows down to try and save the rest of his team. While this is all happening, it's just Bin getting right up to Mega. They jump right down. It's the big beefy boys trying to make it work, but he snipes someone out. No, he cannot. PSG find a fight.
Lads, Gala's a bot lane. Why are we fighting 4 versus 5? You got the kill, you got the Rift Herald, you can back away, you can play nice. But instead, PSG Talent end up fighting back, getting some of these much needed kills. And you can see with that goal going over towards Bay as well. 2 kills now on the Vex. If Vex can get into these fights, blow someone up, you've got a pretty reasonable chance here as PSG with the amount of damage that this Vex can do.
And this is, again, just what you want as a PSG fan. You want to be able to get those very scrappy, all over the place fights where you're getting those resets off, you're getting the Gwen to get up to those, you know, the stacked up Qs. And this is where it's going to become a bit of an issue for the side of RNG. You cannot disrespect your opponents. You have to be clinical.
And again, as I said, like, you didn't actually have Gala there. Gala had reset, but had decided to go bot side because RNG, in theory, were calling off the play. You had the Rift Herald, you'd already gotten what you came for, but they try and go that bit too far forward, and it does cost them. So now I think the big question is, where do they try and use this Rift Herald, right? Because you're already looking at Gala having full control of the spot lane. It doesn't really feel like you need to get more control there. So it feels like trying to crack open this mid lane turret, like open up roam paths for Xiaohu, could be the best way to go about this.
And though, yes, as he has been doing very well on this top side, he's still 30 CS down. A kill went over to Bin. It's still rough. It's still very, very rough. And with double AP solo laners, you've mentioned it many, many times, with those Merc treads, it becomes very easy for Bin to try and make this one work. But it's just kind of a little bit of disrespect from Xiaohu. They don't really know where the Viego is, and they just get caught by it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Xiaohu does a good job of getting out of this, right? And one of the big things about with the rework on Ari is when you start to get these kills, that health bar comes back pretty damn quickly. But again, it's like, this is fine. Now back away. There's no reason to try and chase this, and they don't realize Unified is here, so everyone on RNG flashes galore, but they end up just putting themselves in a great spot for Unified here to try and follow up.
Oh, Bin and Wei trying to make this one work. TP going to be coming in, and it's going to be the Volibear taken very low and taken out. This is regular season RNG.
This is why we've had some issues with
we're never as super confident as everyone else. We're always very realistic with ourselves. But again, it's just RNG kind of going for something that wasn't really there and very unnecessary.
But you can even see, right, Bin nowhere near turning into Meganar. He doesn't really want to be in underneath the tower. Wei doesn't even ult the tower, so that's still online and just super messy from RNG. And now, I mean, you look at the gold lead, it's still kind of 2,000 gold for PSG Talon, but it's keeping themselves, you know, from falling further and further behind.
You got bot lane now picking up. Bin is trying to go a bit forward now, trying to slow down MSI as he tries to get a bit more damage. Don't think he's going to be able to do much else than just poke him down, but with a red buff here for the Gwen, makes it a little bit easier to sustain that battle up. So they're going to drop Rift Herald in mid, get that priority, then look for the Dragon.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about already, right? Like trying to open up the map for Xiaohu so he can actually get some roams going on the Sari, but also looking towards that second Dragon for RNG. And I think when you look like domestically, that's where RNG have been at their strongest, is these neutral objectives. And they've had absolutely insane control over pretty much any neutral that is spawned on the map. And we're seeing it again here, right? Already getting that early Rift Herald for themselves. And when you look at their Drake control back home, it's, you know, second in the league at nearly 60% of those Dragons.
Despite all the shenanigans that RNG have decided to go with in this particular game, they are still winning in terms of the gold lead. 3,000, 2 dragons in their pocket as well. And they've got one more Rift Herald charge to take down that mid turret as they start to roam themselves down. And Ming finds himself a treasure trove of wards and keeps everything in check in this bot side. Gala is finding himself a pretty decent, actually, CS lead, about 20 or so, as he comes up into about the 13-minute mark. And this is where the game starts to get a little bit more funky, because we start to see those first MasterCard mythics. We start to see those first big item spikes coming out for both sides.
The thing is, though, like, PSG haven't been unaccustomed to coming back into games, right? Like, you look at the way that they played in the playoffs, one of the big criticisms of them was, look, Unified and Kaiwing just couldn't have that same impact that they were able to have during the regular split. And they had to come back from these deficits. And it feels like, at least here with PSG fighting back continuously against RNG, that they aren't completely out of the woods yet. You feel like when you look towards Bay, being able to get up towards the Everfrost, he can actually set up relatively well for these fights. I think the big issue is just going to be, you know, this Gwen falling further and further behind, with turret plates going towards Bin, the fact he's got, you know, nearly double the CS of this Gwen as well. That's where I think you're going to start to see issues, especially if Bin starts to go towards things like the Hull Breaker and just take over in that side lane.
Wei thought he could maybe steal away the red buff, was denied at the last second. As you can see, Bin just constantly putting harassment down here. Won't get that final plate and will go mega to secure himself a nice easy exit. But like I said, that is a 60 CS lead in the top side. That is significant gold that's just being not gained by the Gwen.
And RNG are only looking to push this lead as well, right? You can see Gala moving in towards the mid lane. They're keeping their eyes on the next Rift Herald that's about to spawn. Good damage onto Bay as well. Means it becomes harder to try and keep control of this mid lane, with Gala and Sue in as well, to now move across towards this Rift Herald and keep up this neutral objective control.
Well, this will be 4 for 4 in the early game if they're able to secure it, but you can see PSG Talon trying to make sure that they don't give this one up for free. Now Bay in a little bit of trouble here. Charm goes wide, but the Glaive Official does not. They're going to be able to increase the engage with the quickness and then come back in on top of this. It's a trade of support, though, for your mid laner. You take that as RNG. You will get the Heartbreaker out. Kaiwing has to flash away. They've also committed a TP. That's going to be the Gwen with Ghost and Ultimate coming back into this fight. But look at the poke coming out from Gala right now. These Mystic shots are just doing so much work. You can't re-engage.
And now, RNG have just found their way in onto the tower as well. I mean, there's nobody here to defend it because PSG have taken far too much damage. Rift Tower will go down, means he can actually get the charge onto the second turret here as well. Tower will be traded for Unified in the bot lane, but, you know, 2 for 1 already with Tower, as he's saying, top side also under threat.
This is just, it looks scrappy from RNG, and it is, but then you look at the gold, and they're just catapulting everything ahead.
But this is why they were able to beat top esports, right? It's not the early game, it's how strong their mid game is, how well they can play the map with Puppet Master Xiaohu. And now you're starting to see that, right? Like, yes, they trade one bot side, but with the lead that they have and how dominating Bin is, they're just taking over elsewhere.
5,000 gold lead as we come back and see the replay here. And again, it's very scrappy, it's very all over the place. Bay is already half health when this one starts, so it's already in a pretty dire straits, shall we say, for the side of PSG mid laner.
Yeah, Xiaohu just able to get the final kill, flashing away from Kaiwing so he doesn't get charged. And you can see here, PSG Talon are like, hey, if they overextend, we can make the play, we can go, but so much poke damage comes in so quickly that they're just not able to follow up on it. Now, RNG sitting with that 4,500 gold lead, Dragon in a minute's time, and with the control they have over pushing mid, into leaning into bot side vision, you can set up pretty easily here to make sure you can get that. They just need to make sure they're grouping up with, you know, the 4-man unit from way down to make sure that you're not getting caught out by PSG as you try and set up that vision in the bot side.
And the big thing as well, you're looking at maybe potential item spikes, potential moments for PSG to come back into this. The big one we always talk about with the Xayah specifically is the Eclipse into Muramana. That's not really quite there yet, and you're looking at a Triforce Muramana Ezreal on the opposite side of this. This is going to be rough around those dragon fights.
Yeah, I expected to kind of see the crit Xayah coming through again. Like, lethality Xayah has just been nerfed absolutely completely. The reason that it has been is the 4 second cooldown on the Q into the 6 seconds means that you can't really play around the poke that she was able to, especially even just getting the number of feathers down that you need to, plus the nerf to the actual feather damage as well. Like, she's just been so hurt.
Just has not been able to rectify or recreate the days of old, the reminiscing days of spring 2022. You can see now Juhan trying to see if he can catch out Wei, but no one really going to go for this. And this is a Hex Dragon Soul. So there's some creative ways you can go for this, but they're going to have the charm. The Glacier Fisher comes out, and that's going to be Juhan dead straight away. TP coming in, that's going to be the Mega Narc coming off of this one, and he gets straight in on top of the fight. The Gwen tries to make something work, but it's just not good enough. There was a TP from Bay, but it wasn't anywhere near the fight.
Yeah, Bay says, hey, and quickly dips out of the back of that fight. He wanted nothing to do with it. But that's what we're talking about, right? You can see RNG where the engage comes through from PSG. They kind of scatter across the board. Xiaohu backs away. Wei ults over the wall. They split up from the initial burst damage from PSG, and then they can start to readjust themselves in the fight with Bing coming through. Now you're on third dragon. You've already got really good control. We're only 18 minutes into the game. They just get to now set up their vision control nicely for Baron and just wait 5 minutes for this Hextech Soul to come through.
Yeah, it is. Again, pure domination coming out from RNG. Not as clean as yesterday, but damn well still as good, as they are just catapulting, pushing themselves so far forward. And again, they just know they have full vision control, so they can set up a pick whenever they want.
Yeah, and they do get a really nice pick, but watch how they start to play the rest of this, right? You get a ton of PSG trying to jump on top of them. Wei hops over the wall, Xiaohu backs out, and they're just waiting for these big ultimates to be cleared out. And unfortunately, as the Gwen goes over the wall, Bean has managed to arrive with the Nara, and now Kaiwing
not caught out just yet. Bay does come over and help him out. They get the Spirit Rush out of Xiaohu as well. Luckily for Kaiwing, he didn't have a flash to burn. It's coming up very soon, but yeah, this is starting to get a bit rough, and for RNG, they're just kind of playing with their food. They know where they need to be. They know they can out-muscle the side of PSG whenever they really want to, and Wei now just trying to see if he can just take away as many buffs as possible from Juhan.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we're just kind of seeing what Gala and Ming can do when they get their hands on this Ezreal pick, because it just opens up Ming to go for these like level 1, level 2 plays we saw with Wei invading into the jungle. You get this bleed, and since then RNG, a little bit messy, but definitely you can see the threat that they are when Ming is out and open up on the map a little bit easier.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing this, you know, RNG Gala just trying to do so much damage. Kaiwing goes for it, but it's just not quite able to get on top of the Ezreal. Taking down will just survive, but that was your quickness. That was the flash that we just talked about, burned off cooldown.
That was pretty much everything, right? Like the easy setup for PSG. Now you're kind of hoping Bay can land some long-range ult to get in towards the back line with the flash burn by Gala, but we'll have to see, because that is still no easy task.
It is not, and we're going to see now Wei just kind of pushing PSG away. You do have a Gwen, though, and Xayah. They will be able to clear out these minions pretty damn effectively, and they're just going to wait for the next wave. They've got 3 minutes to the next dragon spawns. Honestly, they got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I mean, they just get to chill here, push this in. Bin's TP will be back up in time for the dragon, so he can always go up after they get this terror reset, move into this top side, keep pressure on towards the tier 2, and you don't really feel the pressure as RNG to quickly start this, right? Because you have complete control of the map.
Here we go, Shadow Surge lands on the Gala, he gets speared, he gets taken down, the turret was taken in the meantime. We're going to see now Juhan cannot get any more reset. There's Bin on the backside of this with some good feathers from Unified, but a 3-man into the wall. Bin almost turns it back around, but it's too many resets, too much damage, and Gwen is immune as PSG finally find them a fight.
That was huge from Bay, being able to find that ultimate, sneaking on towards Gala, and demolish the main source of damage from RNG. And just like that, PSG, they find that brief moment of respite and get the ace, but they need so much more.
They need that probably about 3 more times. We can have a look at this fight right now, because it all starts with Gala just walking too far forward.
forward. Yeah, ends up arcade shifting forward. Bay lands it as soon as his feet hit ground and destroys the Ezreal. And from this point forward, right, Shenhu is doing his best, but you just don't have the damage to try and carry through this fight. We talked about how much work this Gwen could get done when she's immune in the front line, and even though you get this great ultimate from Bin, Shenhu just can't follow up because of Asi's positioning, and they're able to take the fight.
And again, RNG, they disrespected their opponent. I think Gala got way too aggressive right there and just went too far forward, causing such a big slip up there. And despite Bin getting that 3-man ultimate into the wall, it looked like they could have turned it back around. But again, like you said, the resets from the Vex and of course the Gwen just shredding through people was far too much.
You're still looking though at a minute until this Dragon Soul. And already RNG pushing in onto this bot side off of Xiaohu's pressure, starting to set up that vision control. We already saw what RNG could do off of one quick pick with Juhan overextending at the last Dragon. So you've got to find some sort of way here as PSG to contest this vision, but it just becomes so difficult to do with Bin, as we already mentioned, established on this top side and pressuring the tier 2.
You got the pressure in mid, pressure in top. Everywhere has got pressure. You are definitely...
Don't sing it. Don't sing it. I know where you're going. No, no.
All right. Next time. But 20 seconds till this Dragon spawns. We have a quick look. You still don't have flash on Gala or Ming or Bin for that example, but use basically everything in that last fight as well for PSG. You don't have great engage. You are relying on a big shadow surge for Bay to get in on top with this Vex and get the Zhonya's off. You do have it stopwatch here for the Gwens. That could be pivotal in this fight, but it's going to be close.
But here's the thing, right? Like, RNG just get to keep you pushed back here. Xiaohu able to poke, Ming able to slow you down, Bin even threatened with the Megadar, and now the Dragon's already gone.
It's already gone. You've already too late to find it. That's going to be Hex Soul. They got the slow and the damage coming down. There's a great Glacial Fissure right up the middle of that choke point, and everything's already been used by PSG to try and get away. You don't have any more tools to fight. You have to use them to survive. Double kill going to Xiaohu on this Ahri, and you gotta feel like that's gonna be the final nail in the coffin.
I mean, it's Soul, it's gonna be Baron as well as RNG start to move over, and PSG, they tried their damnedest being able to get that one nice fight in bot side, but it just isn't going to be enough. RNG again looking to push themselves to 2-0 at the end of our second day.
I got the Baron, they'll reset. Of course, we'll see a replay of that fight, I'm sure, as well, but this is just going to be a formality at this point for RNG. And again, PSG, at least they showed life. I see some great stuff coming in as well for Asai. This guy was looking pretty damn good on this Gwen and isn't quite done with it just yet.
I will say he struggled a small bit in the late phase, you know, just a 60 CS lead.
I was going to say nearly 100 CS down, nearly.
But, Gala, that'd be alright. But I just don't know how much RNG are actually going to be able to get out of this Red Bull Baron power play, because you look at how much of the base for PSG remains, there's not exactly a huge amount, and when you think as well about the opportunity to look for poke with Gala underneath these towers, the siege is pretty damn strong, but you'll see here, Ming, that was beautiful. Completely catches Unified out. He's stuck on the slow, separates him from the team, and then Xiaohu flashing forward, getting these resets on the Ariel, and able to chase down so many members of PSG.
This is the RNG we expected. This is the RNG we saw yesterday. Again, it took a little bit of small little scuffs, you know. They're not 100% clean going home to their mom, but they are definitely feeling proud of what they've been able to do today. And again, it's just RNG just being RNG. Yes, their early game kind of sucked, but it didn't matter. Unless you get caught out like here, but Wade's got himself a stopwatch, and he's going to be able to turn it back around. This time, though, you ain't got your team, Juhan, to keep you alive. With the Hextech Soul, they're slowing everyone down, and yeah, you had to go for something. Honestly, PSG talent, I admire the effort.
Yeah, I mean, look, you see some teams who would just kind of try and turtle, sit back in their base and not do a huge amount, but you got to try and do something in these positions. Maybe you can find some picks, maybe you can slow it down, but already 3,000 gold on the Red Bull Baron power play, the turrets are starting to fall, and you don't even have Juhan up for another 15 seconds.
Yep, and you're getting assaulted in mid and in top. You will lose the inhibitor in top side. You may even lose your Gwen in the mid lane as he goes forward. Xiaohu knows how that W works, and the Gwen is no longer immune. Now Xiaohu wants a little bit more blood. We're going to see them trying, just honestly saying, look, you're evicted. Get out of your house. You don't live here anymore.
Yeah, we're on the wrong side of the map. PSG look like they're trying to siege up, but RNG are like, no, you're not allowed in here anymore. And now with the top lane inhibitor going down, mid soon to follow, the base is in shambles for PSG talent.
Still got Baron buff up for another 50 seconds. You've got minion waves in mid and top. It looks like they're going to just try and reset, use the gold they've just newly accrued, and just dot their I's and cross their T's.
I mean, I don't know how much more you really need for RNG, right? Like, Void Staff completed for Xiaohu, the needlessly large rod in there as well. I mean, you've got 3 items already completed for RNG.
Oh, wait for Ben. Where is he? There he is.
Yeah.
Good man. He wasn't late. He wasn't late. You just you know, you have to sprint for the
we're
train.
going again.
Here we go. Choo-choo. Let's go.
I mean, look, this is the best school day trip I've ever
honestly. It's just the pure giddiness you get when you're just excited to see how this stuff, you get on the train and stuff like that with all your mates. And yeah, they're just going to be able to use the Hex Rift to get themselves pushed down bot side. And yeah, PSG, you got to go for a final stand at some point.
I mean, I think that might have fallen already, but their base is starting to go. They can't really hold on to this.
Oh my Jesus! That is one Mystic shot. Unified has to go into his ultimate. We do see the Arcane Barrage coming across the side of the team, but now with triple in him, a little bit of minions left for them as well. Gala is feeling confident. Gala is feeling good, and we're going to see the final fight coming out for PSG. Can they delay this fight? As we can see the Shadow Surge all the way out into the backside, but the charm was good as Bay finally takes down Gala. They are trying to get the resets going here, and Juhan's doing some very good work and keeping himself alive. They can't get the Vex out though, and eventually it was a valiant effort. They will end up having to back away, and I don't think they can survive much longer.
No, that is going to be it. RNG at the end of day 2 are going to hit that 2-0.
Oh, we've got to wait for 2 seconds right now because these health bars are a little bit low. Never mind. They're going to get the push in on top of this one now. The Flash, the Charm, the only person who could have done any possible damage is dead. RNG 2-0, PSG 0-2 at the end of day 2.
Yeah, and you can see it there, right? The difference between RNG's early game versus RNG's mid game. We saw a little bit of the fumbles coming through, but way overextending that bit too far, trying to go a bit over aggressive. But when we get to the mid game, it's clean, it's clinical, and it just looks like a completely different team.
It does, and I think that's why I personally am so excited to see the best early game team in the entire tournament, T1, against the best map playing team in the tournament. This is going to be such an interesting one of which one's stronger, which one's better, and we have to wait a while. It's a little bit until the Rumble starts, but still something to look forward to.
Yeah, also some of the most storied mid laners as well, with Xiaohu potentially going up against Faker would be a nice L time. But unfortunately for PSG Talon, like, this game just kind of ran away from themselves, even at the early stages. You look at how RNG able to play off their mid and bot prior, get into the fade, get these early kills, and even having the substitute step in, kind of throwing a wrench into the works as well. It feels like we didn't really get to see all the PSG